Lesley, there are more than 900 pension professionals here. It's a huge conference. This year's theme, diversity. Tell me what you mean by that.
Gosh, well, diversity there are so many elements to diversity. One of my personal themes is the diversity of people and the diversity of decision making in the world of pensions and investments. So that would be my starting point. But of course there is diversity of investment and you know, the diverse nature of what's going on in the world today.
Why is diversity of thinking and people important? Cognitive diversity is a buzz phrase. What does that mean and why do you think it's important?
I think I'd start with saying that the pensions industry is some way behind certainly the corporate world and some other aspects of society. One of the things that drew this to my attention was this big hoo-ha when I became chair of the PLSA, you know, the first female chair in its 90-odd year history, and I was a bit taken aback by that because I hadn't, you know, I'd seen myself as becoming chair, but I hadn't really registered, you know, that female was such an issue, and I went back to my workplace and they said, well, don't be stupid, you know, that's a really big deal. And we then spent some time looking at the pensions industry. The PLSA have gathered statistics on gender diversity just because that's easy, but don't be mistaken, I don't think that's the most important, even the most important area of diversity we should be looking at. But we look shocking compared with the normal population in terms of diversity.
Why is it important?
It's important because we're making decisions that people are relying on. So we are responsible for creating pensions and incomes for people in retirement, and if we don't do that in the best way possible, then we're shortchanging you know, the next generation.
And not having cognitive diversity takes away from that.
It would do, yes. I mean, there's been plenty written about how, for example, the financial crisis was caused by a lack of diverse thinking and a not wanting to see things from the perspective of someone who said, well, hang on a second, this isn't right. There must be a different way of doing things.
In terms of decision making and diversity, do you think it's more important in the current environment as well, where things are so tumultuous geopolitically, that we need that diverse thinking to help even things out?
It's certainly important. I think it's always been important, and we need to run to catch up.
Lesley, what message do you hope delegates take away from this year's conference, and why do you think that is an important one?
I very much hope that people will find something in the conference to help them to understand why they need to put diversity at the top of their agendas. It's extremely important in the current climate that we have cognitive diversity in order to make the right decisions about pensions and investments for people's futures.
In such a tumultuous geopolitical time,
indeed,
you need that stabilising effect.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Lesley, the DB Task Force are going to be talking about what their recommendations are, so what are they going to be saying and what do you hope delegates take away?
The DB Task Force has been looking closely at the problems for DB pension schemes, and we have been trying very hard to find a solution that can work. We've got some way towards that. I very much hope that the conference will and that the release of the report will stimulate the right discussions about DB, and that we will find solutions in the future to help solve the problems of DB.
This is the most difficult and important question being addressed by the pension industry, arguably.
Yes. The DB Task Force is looking at the problems faced by DB pension schemes. We strongly believe that we need to find that there are problems and that we need to find solutions for them. We think that we can't continue to hide our heads in the sand over those, and we want people to talk about the problems, and it's only through talking about them that we will identify ways to solve them.
And what better opportunity with 900 pension professionals here under one roof?
Indeed, yes.